He had a guy on the show that is known in the Bigfoot world, 180 days, to release all the information they have about UFOs.
Imagine a soldier in Syria spotting a shiny pyramid floating above the desert. Wild, right? This isn't sci-fi. It's a real story that's got people buzzing. From UFOs to Bigfoot, let's dive into what this guy saw, how it ties to Joe Rogan's world, and why it's got us hooked. The soldier's strange sighting in Syria. Picture this, a US soldier, boots deep in the Syrian sand, scanning the horizon for trouble. He's seen war, chaos, maybe even things he'd rather forget. But one day, something stops him cold. He spots a craft, huge, silver, and shaped like a pyramid, hovering just 10 to 15 feet off the ground. It's not a tank, not a drone, nothing he's trained to recognize. He calls his team over, and they're all just staring, jaws dropped, at this mirrored thing reflecting the desert back at them. Then, as quick as it appeared, it shoots up into the sky and vanishes. This isn't some late-night conspiracy chat. This guy shared it on Reddit, straight from his memory. The soldier doesn't spill exact details, where in Syria, what mission, just enough to keep it real but vague. He admits he wasn't a UFO believer before, but this stuck with him. It was like a huge mirror, he said, and you can almost feel his confusion. Was it ours? Alien? Some secret tech? He doesn't know, and neither do we, but that's what makes it juicy. Military folks don't usually spill stuff like this unless it's burned into their brain. Now, Syria's a hot zone, war-torn, chaotic, so you'd think a floating pyramid would be the least of their worries. But soldiers see weird things in weird places. The desert's vast, empty in spots, perfect for something to slip in unnoticed. This wasn't a blurry dot in the sky, it was close, real, tangible. The team watched it descend, hover, then climb back up. No sound, no fuss. That's not normal. Even with the US leading in military tech, this didn't match anything in the playbook. Joe Rogan would eat this up, wouldn't he? He's always digging into stories where regular people, like this soldier, stumble into the unexplained. The guy's not claiming aliens, just saying what he saw. It's raw, unpolished, and that's why it hits. You can't help but wonder, what else is out there, floating over deserts or hiding in plain sight? The soldier's story isn't the only one. Others have popped up, from jungles to bases, hinting at a pattern. Military life's already intense. Throw in a UFO and it's next level. This isn't about proving little green men. It's about what happens when trained eyes see something they can't unsee. The soldier's tale sets the stage for bigger questions. Ones Joe Rogan's been asking for years. What's the government hiding? What's flying around out there? It's a simple encounter, but it's got layers, and we're just getting started. UFOs buzzing military bases. Let's shift gears to Edwards Air Force Base, smack in the Mojave Desert. Dusty, hot, and home to some wild stories. Back in 1965, radar guys there picked up something nuts. Fast-moving lights, zipping high above the base, way outpacing anything we had.
If there was one installation in the Air Force that Chuck Yeager related to and that it has his indelible stamp, it's clearly Edwards Air Force Base.
These weren't lone blips, sets of 7, sometimes 12, pulsing against the black sky. They scrambled an F-106A jet from George Air Force Base to check it out, but those lights, they just climbed higher, faded into the stars, like they were toying with us. This wasn't some Cold War Soviet spy plane. Those didn't move like that. Edwards isn't just any base. It's tied to Area 51, Groom Lake, all those hush-hush spots Joe Rogan loves poking at. The desert's a perfect testing ground, remote, quiet, lots of sky to play in. But here's the kicker. The radar crew, trained to spot threats, couldn't pin this down. They weren't drunk or dreaming. Their reports were solid, credible. When the files finally leaked decades later, it was clear the government swept it under the rug fast. Why? What were they hiding? Think about it. 1965, tensions with the Soviets sky high, and suddenly you've got mystery lights over a top US base. You'd expect panic, but instead, silence. The controllers watch these things move in ways no plane could, no missile either. Some say they hit speeds that'd make a modern jet blush, then poof, gone. It's eerie, right? Like something knew we were watching and didn't care. This isn't a one-off. Bases worldwide report weird stuff, lights, crafts, things that defy physics. Edwards, though, stands out because of its history. The Columbia Space Shuttle landed there in '81, so it's not some backwater outpost. It's a hub for cutting-edge tech, yet these lights stumped everyone. Joe Rogan's talked about this kind of thing with guys like Bob Lazar, who claims Area 51's got alien toys stashed away. Could this be a test run of that, or something not ours at all? The desert adds to the vibe. Scorching days, freezing nights, Death Valley nearby. It's hostile, isolated, a place where secrets thrive. You can almost see those lights flickering, hear the jet engines roaring, chasing shadows. Military folks don't spook easy, so when they say they saw a flying saucer, you listen. The 1965 sightings got legs because it's not just one guy. It's a team, radar logs, and a jet that couldn't keep up. What's wilder is how common this is near bases. Soldiers in Vietnam, Korea, even modern Iraq have stories, crafts hovering, darting, vanishing. It's like these things are drawn to where we're strongest, testing us. Joe Rogan's all about that idea. Why do UFOs keep popping up where we've got guns and eyes? Edward 65 is a puzzle piece, showing this isn't new. It's been happening and we're still clueless. Joe Rogan's take on UFOs. Joe Rogan's like the guy at the bar who's always got a crazy story, except his are real, and he's got a mic. On the Joe Rogan Experience, UFOs are a regular guest star. He's had Navy pilot David Fravor on, breaking down the 2004 Tic Tac UFO, white, sleek, moving like nothing human, JRE number 1361. Fravor saw it off California, tracked it on radar, and Rogan's eyes lit up like a kid at Christmas. That's his vibe, curious, open, digging for truth. Our soldiers' pyramid craft? Rogan hasn't talked about that exact one, but he'd jump on it. He loves military UFO tales, says they're gold because these aren't random stargazers. They're pros. He's chatted with Bob Lazar, the Area 51 whistleblower, about reverse-engineered alien tech, JRE number 1315. A shiny pyramid hovering in Syria fits right into that. Rogan's big on the what-if factor. What if it's not ours? What if it's been here forever? He's not just chasing aliens, though. Rogan's wrestled with the idea of secret U.S. projects, stealth drones, next-gen stuff. He's had Jeremy Corbell on, digging into declassified UFO vids, like those Navy clips from 2019, showing crafts doing impossible turns. Rogan's like, okay, if it's ours, cool, but why hide it? The Edward 65 lights? He'd probably say they're either extraterrestrial or some black-budget toy we're still clueless about. What's cool about Rogan is he doesn't preach. He's casual, sipping coffee, cracking a joke about aliens probing us, then bam, drops a fact that makes you think. He's had physicists, pilots, even skeptics on, balancing it out. Like with Fravor, he asked, how's this thing move with no wings, no exhaust? That's the stuff he'd grill our soldier on. How'd that pyramid float? Was it silent? He's all about details. Rogan's also big on government cover-ups.
You know, there's always people that are telling you they're psych.
He's ranted about the Pentagon's UFO files, how they drip info like a leaky faucet. The soldier's story, hushed up, fits that mold. Rogan said on air, if they've got crafts, they're not telling us. He ties it to Area 51, Edwards, all these bases where weirdness brews. He's not saying it's aliens every time. Sometimes it's just us being sneaky, but he keeps the door open. You listening to him, you feel it, he's hooked. He's brought up the 1947 Roswell crash, the Phoenix lights, all these dots he's connecting. The Syria pyramid would be another pin on his map. He's not afraid to sound nuts. He'll ask, oh, what's more likely, aliens or us hiding tech so wild we can't admit it? That's why his fans love him. He's real, digging into the same stuff we wonder about late at night. Mysterious artifacts in Mexico. Now let's hop to Mexico. Jungles, pyramids, and some seriously odd finds. Amateur archaeologists digging near Quintana Roo and Veracruz stumbled on artifacts that don't fit the usual Mayan vibe. Think big-eyed, oval-headed figures, straight-up gray alien stuff. One guy in 2017 found them in an underground cave, posted pics online, and boom, the internet went nuts. Were these proof of ETs helping the Mayans build their epic cities? These aren't your typical pottery shards. The video says they popped up during a massive railway project starting in 2018, the Tren Maya. Workers digging up dirt found these weirdo statues, small, eerie, like something out of a sci-fi flick. Social media blew up with believers saying, see, aliens. But pros? Not so fast. A Mexican archaeologist called them fakes, maybe planted to look legit. Still, the amateurs swear there's more hidden in unexcavated chambers. Mexico's got history, Mayans, Aztecs, Olmecs, building pyramids that rival Egypt's. Chichen Itza's a marvel, right? But these artifacts hint at something extra. The diggers won't say exactly where. They're dodging cops and keeping their treasure spots secret. Some claim officials swooped in, took the finds, and ghosted them. Sounds shady, doesn't it? Like someone's keeping a lid on it. Joe Rogan's danced around this stuff with Graham Hancock, JRE number 1284. Hancock's all about ancient civis being more advanced than we think, maybe with outside help. Rogan's into it, but cautious. He'd say, cool, but where's the proof? These artifacts would grab him, alien-looking, tied to pyramids, but he'd want lab tests, not just pics. He's had Hancock and Randall Carlson on, chewing over lost tech and cosmic visitors, so this fits his wheelhouse. The jungle's thick, hiding stuff for centuries. Mayans built insane structures 3,000 years ago, and we're still finding them. Imagine unearthing a cave, flashlight flickering, and there's this alien face staring back. Creepy but thrilling. Critics say it's too convenient, too Hollywood. Yet, the amateurs keep digging, risking jail for a shot at history. They're betting on a bigger story, maybe one Rogan would unpack over a 3-hour chat. What's the deal, though? Are these real or just clever fakes? The Mayans were geniuses, math, astronomy, epic cities, but aliens? That's a leap. Rogan would probably lean in, ask if we're missing something in the dirt. It's not about believing every wild tale, it's about wondering what's still out there, buried and waiting. Bigfoot hunting season bill in Oklahoma. Okay, switch gears. Oklahoma 2021, and a lawmaker drops a bombshell. Let's hunt Bigfoot. Representative Justin Humphrey filed House Bill 1648, pushing for an official Bigfoot hunting season. No joke, this was real, hitting the books January 20th, with a start date of November 1st if it passed. The Oklahoma wildlife folks were like, we don't even list Bigfoot as a species. But the bill's got rules, dates, licenses, fees, like it's deer season. People online thought it was a prank at first. Mika Holmes from the Wildlife Conservation Crew had to clarify, nope, it's legit. She wasn't thrilled though, said they stick to science and Bigfoot's not on the radar, didn't stop the buzz. Bigfoot fans were hyped, some even said it's the government winking at us, admitting Sasquatch is out there. Skeptics, they just rolled their eyes. Bigfoot's a legend, 9 to 15 feet tall, hairy, stomping through North America's woods. Hotspots like the Pacific Northwest get tons of sightings, but Oklahoma's got its share too. The bill didn't pass, sadly, it fizzled out, but it stirred the pot. One researcher told the video, this could be them saying he's real. Hundreds of years of stories, native carvings, blurry pics, maybe they're onto something. Joe Rogan's all over this. He's hunted for Bigfoot on his old show. Joe Rogan questions everything. IMDb, tromping through forests for DNA. He's had experts on his podcast tossing around ideas. Could it be an undiscovered ape? He's joked about wrestling one, but he's serious about the possibility. This bill would have made his day. Official Bigfoot hunting? He'd be calling buddies to grab rifles. The vibe's wild. Imagine Oklahoma woods, hunters with permits chasing a myth. It's not just funny. It's a nod to how deep this creature sunk into our culture. Rogan said new species pop up all the time. Mountain gorillas weren't real to science till 1902, so why not Bigfoot? The bill's a long shot, but it's got that what-if spark he loves. Joe Rogan's Bigfoot obsession. Joe Rogan's got a soft spot for Bigfoot. Seriously, the guy's obsessed. On his podcast, he's hashed it out with hunters, researchers, even skeptics, always circling back to one question. Could it be real? He's not some nut job in a tinfoil hat. He's just hooked on the mystery. He's talked about native tales, footprints, that famous 1967 Patterson-Gimlin film. YouTube. To him, it's not crazy, forests are huge, and we're still finding animals. His TV show took him into the woods, chasing hair samples, talking to witnesses. IMDb. He said stuff like, if it's out there, I want to see it. Rogan's not all in. He admits evidence is thin, but he's open. He's brought up the Grassman, Ohio's creepy cousin to Bigfoot, building huts from grass. The video mentions a 1978 sighting, kids spotting a hairy guy in trash, grandparents confirming it. Rogan dig that, it's raw, unfiltered. He's practical too. He's asked why no bones, but counters with, bears die in the wild and we rarely find them. He's had biologist types on, like when he chatted with Forrest Galante, poking at cryptid odds. Rogan's take? Bigfoot could be a surviving primate, hiding in dense woods hikers barely touch. That Oklahoma bill? He'd see it as a fun nudge, government playing along even if it's half serious. Rogan's charm is he's one of us, curious, a little goofy. He's cracked jokes about Bigfoot dodging selfies, but then gets deep, tying it to human history.
Is known in the Bigfoot world as being full of shit.
Yeah.
Which is bad. Like, if the Bigfoot world's pretty open-minded.
He'd ask you, what if we're sharing the planet with something we can't catch? It's less about proof, more about the thrill of maybe. Why military UFO stories hit different. Back to UFOs. Why do soldier stories, like our Syria guys, stick with us? Simple. These aren't random Joes with shaky iPhone vids. They're trained, sharp, used to high-tech gear. When they say they saw a pyramid craft or lights-out running jets, it's not easy to brush off. Joe Rogan said it tons. Military witnesses carry weight. They're not chasing clout. They're risking rep to spill this. Take Edwards 65. Radar crews, jet pilots, all saw it. Vietnam vets have tales too. Lights pacing choppers vanishing fast. Iraq, Afghanistan, same deal. These folks know tanks, planes, drones inside out. A shiny pyramid in Syria? They'd clock it as weird instantly. Rogan's had vets on, like Fravor, who tracked that tic-tac. They're calm, I saw what I saw vibe. Chilling. It's the context too. War zones, bases, places where you're already on edge. Spotting a UFO there isn't just cool, it's a gut punch. Were they watched? Tested? The government's hush-hush act doesn't help. Files locked for decades, like Edwards, only fuel the fire. Rogan's ranted about this. Why bury it unless it's big? You feel it, right? A civilian sees a light, it's a story. A soldier sees it, it's a mystery with teeth. There are eyes out there, credible, grounded. Rogan leans on that, says it's why UFOs keep us up at night. Is it aliens? Secret tech? Either way, when the military's stumped, we're all ears. So a soldier spots a pyramid UFO, bases track ghost lights, and Rogan's out here connecting dots. Throw in Mexican alien artifacts and Bigfoot hunting laws. It's a wild ride. What's next? Are we on the edge of something huge, or just chasing shadows? Rogan's got us hooked, asking the big questions. Maybe that Syria craft's still out there, glinting in the dark. Keep your eyes peeled. This stuff's too good to sleep on.